I personally got into tabletop board gaming, 25 years ago. I had a buddy of mine who played D&D, and I was a nerd growing up. I read, Tolkien and C.S. Lewis and watched movies and Terminator and Alien and all the different things and fantasy films, Conan the Barbarian. And I got into Dungeons & Dragons through a friend. Started my very first cleric when I was, 10 or 11 years old, and played from there for years.
So back in 2015, I started playing D&D with a few of my friends, and it kind of gave us a way to have that role-playing, creative aspect, and to help us form a closer bond.
I was walking past my local game store on the way to get some food. Walking past, I saw some super cool models that I wanted to have. They looked like something I was familiar with playing already. So I went in the store, and our store manager hooked me up.
Tabletop board games are games you design essentially in your head. They may have things like Warhammer have specific grid layouts you have for spacing, so 6 feet by 4 feet. But within that space, you can go vertically, you can go subterranean, you can go side to side, you can set up cardboard boxes and Pringles cans as buildings, or you can buy the pre-made terrain of bombed out shelters or rocks and dragon keeps and whatever, and you play the game your way.
I definitely prefer the social aspect, especially dealing with social anxiety. It helps bring me out of my shell and to kind of give me a lot more confidence than I have, and to boost my self-esteem. And I know a few of my other friends feel the same way. And it gives us a community to go to that is very supportive and just brings us all together.
It's a great social experience. I mean, the cliche, the kids could be doing worse, right? But it's kind of true. And building and painting models is much more a hands-on and learning experience than doing a lot of other stuff. For example, video games.
Yes, I'd consider tabletop board gaming a very social event. Everything from D&D, Pathfinder, up to war games itself like Warhammer or Bolt Action. You need to be there in a group. Yeah, you can do it online, but it's still social. You're still involving other people. It's not something you can do by yourself.
Yeah, tabletop board gaming is almost by definition a social context. I know several people who enjoy the hobby aspect of it, the painting, the model acquisition and building, the free-form sort of artistic side of everything. That is can be the more solo aspect of it. But ultimately, these games are meant to be taken to a store or to somebody's house or to your own house with other people and played in situ with groups or in tournaments, or I mean the nature of these games by their very existence is to be played with others.
My favorite part of the hobby would have to be both the social aspect and probably the creative aspect as well. I've always been an artistic person. I've painted all through high school and college, and I've always been really into music and everything like that, and it kind of all of that is incorporated into tabletop board gaming as well.
So my favorite is playing. A lot of people like the painting aspect. I enjoy painting. I don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy just putting the models on the table. I love the rules aspect, reading and building lists to play.
I think my favorite part of wargaming is essentially the collectiveness of it. I spend most of my time building and painting new models, not only my own, but it's gotten to the point now where my skills and my interest has progressed enough that I even take on projects from other players and paint models of theirs for tournaments or whatever. And that probably, the creative aspect of it, is my favorite place to be in my own mind. But realistically, in no less of a way, I love to sit at a tabletop and play with people.
What I think of the stereotypes regarding our base, usually, that they're nerds and that they are basement dwellers, I think it's for the most part wrong. Every once in a while you get that guy, but there's that guy for pretty much every hobby, you know? The guy that's too far too deep, you know. They exist, but most of the people are just like you.
I haven't really had any bad experiences. I've become advanced enough as a hobbyist myself in these kinds of things that I hesitate to even say negative experiences, but my more frustrating experiences are with people who try and be extra casual players, people that want to participate in things and want to play the hobbies, but show up, with models that are half built or half painted. D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, is pretty much the grandfather of tabletop gaming. Gary Gygax and a group of friends created a game system that is essentially the same thing that Tolkien did for fantasy storytelling. They created a world, the world of Faerun actually is what it's called, that houses an entire universe.
Every time you build and paint a model, you're trying, no matter when you're posing it even, you're trying to make a story with that in and of itself.
I just like making friends. In this hobby, I've met people who are veterans, people who have like actual office jobs that are doing pretty good for themselves, and they just do that to blow off steam, and it's kind of cool to meet these people that I honestly would have never met.
Tabletop wargaming is something that is both casual and not casual. It is something that can be played by children and by the most hardcore Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons nerds you've ever met. People that 40 years ago would have gotten beaten up by the football team for wearing a pencil protector and all this stuff. But ultimately, it is a system that is designed to entertain and engage, and in a rough sense of the word, can teach things like math skills and can do things like engage socially awkward people, because it gives them a way to focus on something outside of themselves that's still social, it's still a participatory event, and ultimately is a tremendous amount of fun.